One of the most common things that I tend to see are golfers that are pretty good at using their sort of mid irons, even maybe long irons, but really struggle with the idea of driver. And that's because they don't understand how to use their arms to the full benefit, which I'm going to talk about in today's video and share with you a particular drill which will make a massive difference. And what I tend to see is golfers that are using an iron, generally set it pretty good, lift the club up, drop the club down on the back of the golf ball, and you'd probably say the whole thing looks pretty effortless. But then the narrative shifts. They use the driver, they move the ball further forward, they create more of a tilt, they become more and more tilted, they become turning over the tilt, they get stuck, and it just doesn't look anything like the same. It's like it's a completely different motion, and it doesn't need to be. So when we're holding the sort of mid iron, the ball position would be relatively central, the club shorter, so I'd look like so. So if I put my driver down for a second, I would look like I'm in this type of position. Now, to move from this position to where what we'd be doing with the driver is the club's longer, so I'll be further away from it. And then because it's less lofted and we want to try and hit up on the ball to brush it off the tee, the ball moves further forward. But you can see by moving the ball further forward, it produces a little bit more tilt. So if that's central, but that's it. Okay, so it's not a big change from your setup position. Okay, so what about the arms? Well, I think again, it's because golfers are sort of under this illusion that they need like width, and then they kind of try and move too much this way to produce width. You don't want that, because the problem is when you start moving off the golf ball, what that'll actually do is it will really hinder your ability to create leverage. So although this position here might feel quite long and quite wide for you, if we actually straighten the arm, that's as far as back as you're taking it. And that's why then your downswing is going to feel like a real rush. So the drill that I want you to practice, both in the backswing and in the downswing, is put your hands on the club, separate them, so your right hand is at the bottom part of the grip, left hand's at the top, and then start with the club so it is parallel to the ground and it is opposite your trail thigh. It's similar to what I'm demonstrating here. Now the first part of this drill is literally just to start using your right hand to lift your left arm up in the air, okay? Like so. Now I want you, when you're starting to do this drill, to do it with a bit of speed. So it's not this, okay? Speed, speed. Speed. Now the reason for that is, one, it will give you a big of a range of motion, so it'll be like a nice little warm-up drill, so you can get down the driving range and you can start doing this, and it will just open up your body and open up your chest, and it'll help you produce better chest opening, better thoracic state. It's just a better movement to have. But also what it's sort of doing is it's helping us get a feeling of, if we can get that club moving back a little bit kind of quicker, it's also going to help us produce a much better downswing position. So one of the problems with a lot of amateurs, particularly ones that are like this, is the club moves back so slow, there's no real sequence within it. What we want to do is get the feeling of those hands moving up a little bit quicker. Okay, so it's a little bit more streamlined in that backswing position. It's a little bit more functional. So if I was to swap over here with an alignment stick, so obviously something that's a lot whippier and a lot lighter, so you should be able to hear, it's not this. Yeah, it's this. You can see the bend, hopefully, and maybe you might even be able to hear a bit of that sound. So that's the first part of it, okay? Now, admittedly, you might have to practice that for a little bit first before moving on to stage two. But stage two then is all about the downswing. So once you've got this backswing position where, yeah, you're a little tilted and then you're lifting that club up like so. Now what we want to do is we want to work a lot on our arm speed from the top of our backswing to the early downswing position like so. So you're going to practice from here to when the club is parallel again. Now, the reason why this position is so important is because I want you to feel like what you're going to be doing is that although you're going to be rehearsing to the point when the club shaft is, oh sorry, when my hands are opposite my trail thigh, when the club's parallel, so just to go over that again, here to here, what you're going to be thinking about is as you're pulling that club down, you're going to let this trail arm straighten, so it'll again feel like you're adding that element of whip. So let me just do it with this drill again, because it's just so much easier for you guys to be able to see. Can you see what I mean? Like that. Okay, so it then like so. And I just think that's a really, really good feeling coming in towards this downswing, because what that's going to help you do is that's going to help you keep the nice width in the swing so you can still hit up on the ball. But what it's going to do is it's going to get those arms, those lazy arms that you're potentially moving quite beautifully with your irons, like this. Boom, boom, lovely whipping action there. Go into the driver. Not the same. So it's more whip, whip. So you do this drill, up, down, particularly here. And then what you'll find is as you continue that through, you can just let that release, and it's going to add that whipping sensation in towards the back of the golf ball. You can end up sort of taking, with that type of sensation, with understanding how your arms are moving, that's when you can take these sort of different sort of training aids and ideas. So this is the G-Force training aid, which is a really sort of whippy golf club. But the point is, from this perspective here, if you were trying to hit this shot and you were somebody who moved too much this way and you get the start to the downswing wrong, you're going to really struggle to hit the golf ball with this, because this golf club is designed really for you to kind of swing as I'm demonstrating up, and then bring that club down, and then it's naturally going to be able to stay much straighter. So if I did a couple of practice swings trail hand only with this, I swing it up, and then I kind of get that feeling of sort of throwing it as I turn my body through, and all of a sudden this sort of sensation of whippiness in this club just completely evaporates. Whilst if I sort of, you know, pause and I get my sequence sort of wrong, I can feel the whip and the kicking. And it's the same with the drill with the rope. You grab yourself a bit of rope, and again you do the same thing. It's kind of like if I have a short swing here, I can sort of feel this thing flopping around, and like so. If I have a wide swing, wide, 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 then all of a sudden what you're going to end up is having a much more functional golf swing, where you're getting this width and width, and this is going to feel like a much more solid object, particularly coming in towards this downswing area. So do the drills, because like I say, with students of mine it makes a massive difference. Don't exaggerate the driver becoming too much of a tilt and too much of a sort of movement like this. Try and reinvigorate that up and down motion, and it should surprise you. See you soon.